Some say the West Coast is the best coast, and tonight for one driver, that will ring true. Auto Club Speedway, California, welcome in ERN's coverage of the Adrenaline Rush Racing Series. Alongside Kevin Ruff, I'm Steve Kerpel. We're going to bring you the flag-to-flag action tonight as we got 11 drivers geared up tonight to run 75 laps around this 2-mile oval track. And Kevin, last week we saw Michael Sheffield bring home a win. What are we in for tonight here at a bigger track that we've seen? We haven't seen a 2-mile track on the circuit yet. What are these guys going to be up for tonight?
Multi-grooves, different runs coming from different positions. Restarts are going to be the funnest part of this race tonight. It's going to be a lot of fun seeing these guys get a run going down the backstretch, from different angles of the track. I think that's the biggest thing. There's not going to be a lot of give and take. There's going to be some aggressive blocking because the draft and those runs are critical for tonight.
Absolutely, yeah. And I'm glad you bring that up. The draft here is, it's about as important as having 4 tires on the truck, really. You get out of that draft, and, you're going to have a hard time getting around this place. Let's see what these guys have track condition-wise. We're looking at 76-degree air temp, which is going to translate to 103-degree track temp. Tires, yeah, they're going to be a big factor, pretty much just like every track. But fuel, Kevin, I think, is going to win the race here tonight. And if you could be the guy that kind of tucks into the draft, maybe not lead the race, but just stay in the draft all night, conserve your fuel, you might be the guy there at the end.
Absolutely. The fuel window we're looking at is about 32 to 38 laps. It's going to be really critical to see who can save fuel. This may be the same result as years back when Austin Dillon won the Coke 600 on a fuel strategy. Whoever's the smartest out there and the easiest on the throttle in the draft is going to win this race, possibly on fuel strategy.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, guys, we're glad you joined us. Buckle in. We're back. We had a little bit 2-week hiatus here. We had some things, life got in the way, but we are back and we're ready to get this thing cranking. Before we do, we're 4 weeks into this thing. Let's take a look at our championship standings right now, and you see GT Irizarry sitting on top of the board, but not by a lot. He's got a 7-point lead over Michael Sheffield, who is, we mentioned at the top of the broadcast, was able to grab a win last week, but has been very consistent. Curtis Preston, however, this might be the story of the night. Not here, not on the track. So that'll give guys like Trevor Massetti, Jeff Carson, something to really go out there and try to get a win or try to get a top 5 finish. So surprisingly, no Curtis Preston out on the track tonight. We do have a pretty big story coming out of the ARRL studio is Craig Burns in the 2 truck. You're going to see him out on the track, getting a late start to the season, but he's ready to go.
Yeah, Craig's going to be a great driver. He's a teammate of mine personally in the RSR Cup Series, and that guy puts in a lot of work. He may be behind a couple weeks, but I guarantee you he's going to be up there in the points, give it 3 or 4 races. Yeah,
absolutely, and that's something you got to keep an eye on, because with a league where a win doesn't really help you, you really got to string together a bunch of really good finishes. And Craig is an excellent driver. We know this from running with him. And it's just going to be one of those deals where can he get out there, put some good finishes together, and hopefully get himself back into this thing. And we're going to go on track. These guys are underway with qualifying now. They have a 2-lap lone qualifier. And we're going to take a look at Michael Sheffield right now in that number 1 Sheffield Graphics Chevy Silverado, and kind of just see what he could do. These guys are, just out there putting in their laps. I don't know if a pole is necessary here, but it definitely would help.
Yeah, gives you a little more confidence. Biggest thing, though, about these kinds of tracks, and most people know, but for the fans out there that don't, the first lap in qualifying on this kind of track, just throw that away because you're building up your speed that first lap. So I always traditionally at this track, I run that high line, build up as much speed coming out of 4 as I can, and then I go all out and just paint that bottom line on the second lap.
Right, and you will see like a lot of tracks here on the circuit. As right now, Craig Burns sitting up at top of the board with 41.96. As they come out of turn 4, you'll see these guys dive down towards that apron, and that is a good. That's what you want to do. That's where you're going to cut a lot of your time off. That's the shortest distance to the start finish line. So you will see that a lot, even in during the race.
Yeah, you're going to see a lot of that bottom apron stuff, especially when trying to battle for positions because, let's be honest, Steve, you and I both know, it's harder to pass on the outside on the front stretch when you got that bottom line held.
Yeah, absolutely. As Michael Sheffield will improve on his second lap, it'll bring him up to 42.24. Good enough for third right now, Craig Burns. And now Trevor Massetti jumps to the top of the board. So these guys they're putting in some good laps. Really, really tight times there. The first 3 to 4 guys, the first 3 guys are separated with less than 1/10 of a second. So those are guys we're going to want to watch out for. Trevor Massetti, we've been talking about him all year. Trying to find his footing, trying to get in a groove. And we'll see what he could do, as we just saw Travis Everett jump to the top of the board with a 41.67. So he pretty much went out there and said, "All right, guys, I'm done playing around. I'm gonna be leading us down to the green flag," and that's what he did. We're gonna take a look, and GT right now is out on the track running his laps, and he's he's obviously going to be a guy we're going to watch for.
Well, yeah, he's one of the slickest drivers out there. I mean, it goes to show, past reigning series champion, for this league. It don't matter where he starts. That guy's going to be towards the front by the end of the race. But I don't know if you just noticed, but somebody just joined the server, I think, in time before the race starts. Can you take a wild guess at who that would be?
I'm going to go ahead and say that that's the 29 of Curtis Preston.
I think he's on a mission to make the race.
Okay, well, we're going to have to see if he can get it gridded up in time. In the meantime, we're going to jump on over. We're going to remove our hats and say homage to our great country and our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
All right, welcome back. We are ready to get this thing cranking, and let's go on down, and we will give you your starting lineup for tonight. On the pole, in the 59 truck, Travis Everett. On his outside will be the 3 of Trevor Massetti. Row number 2, Craig Burns in the 2 truck. Keep an eye on him tonight, followed by the 6 of Richard Gonzalez. Row number 3, 81 of Mark Odell, and the number 4 of GT Irizarry.
7th place, we've got Josh Maxwell. 8th place, we've got the man himself, Mr. Michael Sheffield. 9th place, we've got who I call the Mark Martin of the league, Chad Biesinger. 10th, we've got Jeff Carson. 11th, we've got Matt Opbrook. And last but not least, barely makes it in time, Curtis Preston, rounding out the lineup.
Yeah, we talked about that. Curtis able to make the session, and let's bring in our pole sitter, Travis Everett. See if we can't get a word. Hey, Travis, it's Steve and Kevin up in the ERM booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir. We got y'all.
All right, Travis, Paul, we got 75 laps tonight. What's the strategy? What do you got to do to get a win tonight?
I think tire conservation is going to be a big part of it. It's easy to go out here and put down a few hot laps, but draft's going to play a lot into it. And like I said, just tire management, I think, is what it's going to come down to.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the fuel's going to be tight as well. Well, we're going to let you go. We'll let you get settled in, strap your seatbelts in, and hopefully we're talking to you after the race, Travis. Good luck, man.
Appreciate it. Hope y'all enjoy it.
Yeah, it was your pole sitter, Travis Everett. And before we go green, Kevin, this is going to be fun. This is going to be fun. Anybody out there in Facebook or YouTube land, you got a favorite driver? Why don't you throw it on in the chat? Let's chat it up and let's see what transpires. We're going to go 75 laps tonight. Travis Everett and Trevor Massetti will be leading them down. And we're looking about 32 to 38. We were talking on the fuel window. So if this thing stays green, it's very possible to make it on one stop. As we'll just kind of see what happens. Chevy Silverado Pace Truck is on pit road. Let's go to work. Auto Club for 75 laps as Travis Everett leads them down into turn number 1.
Trevor Massetti gets a really good start, honestly, on that outside line. He's going to build up some speed. May not be enough. It looks like Craig Burns is actually going to get underneath him, but look at Trevor Massetti, the Cali kid, man. He's just going to get a bunch of speed on that high side going into 2, and he's going to clear Craig Burns.
Yeah, I mean, that outside line is probably where you're going to want to be for a better portion of the race. You see how much corner exit speed you get coming off of it until these guys tuck in. And in 3 and 4, if you're a single file, you're gonna want to run the bottom, the middle line and kind of just slide up towards the wall. As you see, we're on board with Travis Everett right now. That's the wrecking on the front stretch, and I don't believe that the caution flew for that one.
Cold tires. Cold tires will get you
Yes.
every time.
And the caution is out on that. And I do believe I did see the 81 of Mark Odell on that one. And we're just going to see if we can't find this replay. Oh, you see the 81 just slid right up into the 6 of Richard Gonzalez.
And that actually had no factor with cold tires. He just got tight.
Yeah, that thing just tightened way up on him, and wow, oh man, that's interesting.
Who did he clip? Is what
It
I'm
looks
trying
like, I believe it was the 6 of Richard Gonzalez.
This is a bad spot to be in.
Yeah, it really is. I'm gonna try to see if we can't just go on board with him and just.
Oh yeah. Ooh.
Oh yeah, he catches. Yeah, he caught the 6, and oh man, that's just a tough break, especially this early in the race.
Look how close Sheffield was to hitting
Yeah.
him.
Yes.
And Sheffield's sitting there blinking, so that,
Yeah.
that may have helped just a little bit,
Right.
My goodness.
Yeah. So an early caution, something we are not accustomed to seeing here in the Adrenaline Rush Racing Series, but it does happen. I mean, yeah, Kevin. I mean, looking at the replay, it just looked like he just got wicked tight coming out of turn 4 there and just went right up into him.
Yeah, he just pushed it too hard into that turn, and it didn't even look like he released. He just kind of held down in it thinking he was going to clear Gonzalez and just didn't have enough clearance there.
Yeah, so we're gonna, and I mean, we're gonna remind everybody at home that these guys do not get a fast repair in this league. So he's got to go down pit road, have the crew, hit the truck with a hammer for a little bit, bang some of those dents out, and get back in there. Now, luckily for Mark Odell, it was mainly rear end damage. It's gonna slow him down for sure because this is an aero heavy track, but he shouldn't receive any kind of really motor damage, which is going to be important. Now, I can't say the same about the six because he went right into his front end. So we're going to have to see how those two guys kind of handle this. Handle the damage that they received.
But the biggest thing right now is the fuel window.
Yes.
This helped out a ton on the fuel window. It still will probably come down to a fuel strategy, but if you're Travis Everett and you're out front right now and you know you're going to burn up the most fuel, this gives you a little bit more comfort knowing that you could probably make it with one stop.
Right, absolutely. As the lights are out on the Chevy Silverado pace truck, so we're going to be going green next time by. And yeah, you're absolutely right. If you're the 59, you love to see that early caution. Obviously you're glad to not be in it, and that stretches you. That gives you a little bit of a cushion to where, okay, now we're doing okay. I got a couple of laps. I could be out in front in that clean air, burning a little bit extra fuel than these other guys, and still be okay.
And with that being said as well, I know it was a caution and he's going to gain a couple, but Curtis Preston already cracked the top 10. He's sitting there in ninth place, and I'm just telling you, man, that truck looks real good tonight. It looks like the lady in black, but he's always got a good shot to win a race, so he's just kind of coasting right now, but I guarantee you give it about 10, 15 laps, you're going to see him break the top 5.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think this run coming up, we're gonna see who's here to play and who's here to just kind of hang out. I think we're gonna see a good long stretch here. These guys know what the tires can and can't do, and we're just gonna have to see how it plays down. But Kevin, take us to the green flag.
Travis Everett on the inside, Trevor Massetti on the outside, Craig Burns sitting there in third place. Travis Everett's going to take it as we go green flag. Really good restart.
Very good restart by the 59, and he slides up because I think he knows that the 3 did get a good run as well. But as you see, going down into turn 1, the 2 Craig Burns, he's probably not in the preferred line, but I think he needs a little bit of help. That's the problem. I mean, he's got nobody around him, and everybody's kind of as he tucks in behind the 3 Trevor Massetti there.
You just hate it being on the inside line on a restart like that because it eats the tires up. One of the biggest things I do, especially on these kind of tracks, is I turn my tires up to where I can actually hear them way more inside the truck when I'm racing. And you just hate hearing that sound on a restart when you're just eating those tires up.
Right, especially 5-6 laps into a 75-lap race where you know that saving the tires is obviously going to be huge along with saving fuel. So luckily for the 2 of Craig Burns, was able to get in line, so he didn't really chew him up. But you do a couple laps like that, and it's gonna hurt you for sure.
Look at that run he gets on the backstretch. He was just a little bit in a different groove from Trevor Massetti. And, I mean, it showed right there. I mean, he just got a huge run, and he had to let out the gas just a little bit. But they're finally settling in. But look at Trevor Massetti now. He's playing with that back bumper of Travis Everett.
Yeah. I think Trevor is to the point now in the season where he's going to start making some more. I don't want to say aggressive moves, but he's going to show a little more aggressiveness than he has in the previous 3 races, because he wants to get up there and get himself a win. And I mean, I can't blame him.
Well, and he's got a lot of confidence under his belt right now. I got to give a big shout out to him. He won the Wallbangers Championship Series Saturday night at Phoenix International Raceway in another open truck setup league that we were proud to have with the Evolution Racing Network. And he just flat out dominated that night. So he's got a lot of momentum under his belt right now. So, I mean, how could you not, winning a championship like that in another respected league?
Oh yeah, sure. I mean, yeah, I'm glad you bring that up. Yeah, I mean, Trevor was dominant in that whole series pretty much. And it came down to the last race, it came down to championship race, and he was able to go out, get the win the championship, and, bring home the hardware. So that definitely, that was a mere, 2 days ago. So, I mean, that definitely carries over to a series like this, all that momentum. As you see the two, Craig Burns hard into the outside wall coming out of turn 4. I mean, that essentially looked like what had happened to Mark Odell, except there was just nobody there, and, Craig Burns making contact with that outside wall. We are going to have to just, see what that does. I mean, that's already dropped him back to 9th, and he's definitely got some right side fender damage, that's for sure. Now, the thing that's going to help him is he's in a pack of trucks. He's in a pack of trucks, so he's able to kind of hold that draft, but these guys are just kind of sailing on by him. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Craig Burns, when they do make that first round of pit stops, he might be spending a little bit extra time down on pit road.
Yeah, he's got a Darlington stripe, I would call it.
Yeah, absolutely. That is a Darlington stripe, and for those of you guys watching at home, we are not at Darlington. So those are some things, it happens. You usually don't want to see those stripes at a big wide open track like California here, but it happens. It seems like a lot of these guys are getting tight coming out of turn 4.
I'll tell you who's not getting tight, and he's battling for the lead right now. Michael Sheffield, he's up here. He is playing with Travis Everett.
As he's gonna make a power move on the inside, take that lead right away. Your new race leader, the number 1 of Michael Sheffield, he's gonna get a big time push from the 3 of Trevor Musetti. And here comes the 4, GT Irizarry. We've talked about him. We know he's gonna be a factor pretty much in every race all year long, and he's up here saying, "Boys, you guys have been playing monkey long enough. I'm here, and I'm ready to lead this thing."
Yeah, GT. I mean, it's like I said at the beginning of the show. He's a fantastic racer, and he is just calm, cool, and collected, and no pressure. He never rushes things. He just lets the truck do its thing, and you can just see right now he's just finally settled in. He's like, "All right, maybe it's time to get a little serious. Maybe it's time to still play with the boys, but I got a winnable truck, and I'm going to show you guys how to do it."
Yeah, I mean, if you're the 4, you don't want to be battling too hard, for position, because all that's going to do is that's going to let Michael Sheffield will kind of walk away and stretch this lead out. So it's kind of, let's jockey for position. Let's grab one here or there. But this group of 4 trucks has really separated themselves. They've got almost, 2 seconds between 4th and 5th. So this is definitely your lead pack. If they're smart, they will kind of just run with each other and try to gap that second pack as best as they can. And then when it comes down to the nitty gritty at the end, just go to work.
Yeah, I definitely agree. If they suck up to each other and just play it smart, going down the back stretches and in the front stretch, I think they'll definitely gap them even more. Because, I mean, let's be honest. You and I both know, just from being in the driver's seat, you are not going to win this race on lap 13. You just aren't. You're going to win the race with about maybe 10 to go at most.
Yeah, I think, you're absolutely right. And for those who want to believe it, you're right. You can't win the race this early in the race, and that's just the truth behind it. I want to say 10 to go is probably when we're going to see our moves. Especially if it's a fuel race at the end, it'll be interesting for sure. I honestly, I hope it is. I hope that, guys are, with 20 laps to go, clutching it through the corner, killing the motor off. I hope we get an exciting finish like that. Obviously, we'll have to wait and see. But about 10 to go is when you're going to start to see these guys making a move.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what you're not going to see. You're not going to see anybody short pit it, because this is just a standout field. It's like you said on that first caution. I think that was the first caution, going with last season as well. I mean, I can't even count more than 10 cautions they had last season.
Right. I mean, this is It's a series where these guys are committed to clean racing and they put the work in practice. You don't see cautions, as we just seen the one of Michael Sheffield with a little bit of a connection issue there. Something to keep an eye on, as the 4 of GT Zari, they're going to battle for that lead.
Sheffield's he's trying to hold as much as he can, but I just it's so hard because GT's got the preferred line right now, and all you're doing is you're just eating up your tires even more, trying to keep him from passing you.
Right.
I mean, if I'm Sheffield, just let him go and suck up behind him. I mean, I hate saying that because we all want to dominate and lead, you know. But if you want to be smart about it and conserve your tires and also fuel, suck up behind him and let him burn all his fuel.
Right. Yeah. In a race where as of right now, we think it's going to be a fuel race. That right there, that's the smart move, I think. These top 3 guys are all teammates. So they're talking fuel strategy. They might switch the lead, several times between them. So that way, not one guy is burning all the fuel. But yeah, you're right. As we do see the one trying to, take a little peek on the inside as they go into turns 1 and 2 here. That fuel is going to be huge, and if you're that lead truck, you're in a bad spot almost. I mean, I hate to say it, but you really are.
Yeah, absolutely. And Travis Everett, man, he's got a good truck. It's starting to come to life a little bit. I think he was a little tight early in the run, and I mean, he's just kind of letting it do its thing now. He's building a lot of speed running that high line.
Yeah, I mean, we're not, as you look back through the field, we don't really see too many guys running that as high a line as Travis is running. But I'll tell you what, he's making that thing work. And I mean, he's staying right. He's getting great corner exit speed running that high line first. And I mean, he's hanging with them. He's making it work,
Yeah, he's going to dive it down in there. He put his nose right next to that quarter panel of Irizarry. And man, he gets a huge run. I don't think it's not going to be enough, but he could side draft a little bit. As long as he stays close there, man, he's got a good advantage going his turn. He can float right up there and cover him if he can. And look at that.
Yeah, I mean that's a textbook pass here. I mean, it really is. Now obviously the crossover is going to come into play and all that, but that's essentially what you want to do here. I mean, if that was the last lap, he would have just won the race. So that's what you got to think about.
Yeah, that's probably one of the biggest things I love about this track is the crossovers. This place and Chicagoland are almost identical for me when it comes to, the crossovers. I just love seeing them, especially, watching them, live, on Sundays or just watch them here on iRacing. The crossovers, it's a beautiful textbook move if you can pull it down 100%.
Right, and that's the thing. I mean, I wouldn't call it a hard move to do, but it's a hard move to execute to perfection. Let's call it that. I mean, you gotta know when to go. You basically almost have to be inside the back of the car in front of you to make it work.
Yes, absolutely.
You see these group of 4 trucks up here. They're just, they're not battling hard enough for that second pack to catch up. But I'll tell you what, man, I am impressed with the 59 running that high line, and to see the run he gets coming out of the corner. It's really impressive, and he basically has nobody else running that line with him.
Yeah, and we got another little battle back here going for 5th right now. Jeff Carson, he's going to get a huge run on the outside. He's going to get around Matt Opbrook and take it going to the start-finish line.
Yeah, he sure is. Now here's a guy that's he's been consistent. We've seen him there at top 5 in points. So he's where he needs to be. Top 5 finishes, especially in this league where it's not a win and you're in type of league. It's let's be consistent. Jeff Carson having himself a nice little season so far.
Yeah, his truck's coming to life. I hate it that it took this long for his truck really to come to life because he's so far behind from those other guys that are just pushing each other. But yeah, I mean, if I'm in his seat right now, I'm happy right now running 5th, because pit stops can change completely. They could change the outcome of this completely because there may be there may be some weird strategies, especially with it being fuel.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree 100%. And I mean, we're probably about 10 laps until we kind of get in the beginning part of that fuel window. Now, with the early caution, that's probably going to extend that out maybe a lap or two. But I mean, let's just go ahead and throw out between lap 30 and lap 40, we should see pretty much everybody on pit road for fuel. And obviously tires, because these tires are going to get eaten up, especially because this track temp it's hot. It's hot out here in California today.
Yes, and I'll be really shocked if everyone doesn't pit right around lap 39, lap 40. That would be my game plan. I would not short pit this at all. You just cannot take that chance with this class of drivers, because I'm going to throw it out there. I don't think there's going to be another caution. I really don't. So if you short pit this, man, you're really going to screw yourself.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, Kevin. I mean, you figure if you can make it to 40, you're good on a 75 lap race. I mean, that's just simple math. So I think if you're one of any of these drivers, no matter where you are in the field, if you're any one of these drivers, that's where you want to try to get to lap 40. You're safe to the end, and that kind of takes the fuel question mark out of the equation. You could just go racing.
And Trevor Massetti must have got really tight because, man, he was up there with them, and he has fallen all the way back to where Jeff Carson, Matt Operick, and Curtis Press, if they stay in this line, man, they're going to catch right up with him, and they're going to blow past him.
You know what? And as he just went by, we've seen, if you could see it right there, he's got a Darlington stripe on the right side of that truck. So I'm
Yes,
wondering, as Matt Upbrook catches the wall coming out of turn 4, and Chad Biesinger in the 23 had to go to a oh crap moment so he didn't run into him. So these guys, I'll tell you what, big track like this, but hotter track temp, not a lot of grip out on the racetrack right now. These guys are finding that outside wall, and I mean it's hurting them.
I didn't think we were going to say this in the broadcast, but we've got a stripe count.
Yeah, we really do. I mean, we've seen Craig Burns with a big stripe. We've seen Mark Odell already involved in an actual caution. Now Trevor Massetti and Matt Upbrook. I mean, it might be one of those races where if you keep that thing off the wall and keep it clean, you might find yourself in victory lane come the end of this thing.
Yeah, the Kyle Larson line here is a very good line to run if you can execute it 110% correctly.
Yeah, absolutely. You know what? I think this is probably a good part of the race before we gather in our pit stops. Let's crank up the volume for a little red line minute. Go on board and see what it's like to run a lap around this track. All right, that was your red line minute brought to you by S&C Transport. And I'll tell you what, it's it's a fun track. It really is. As we're 28 laps into this thing, Kevin, and we've seen that. We've seen the early caution, but everybody's kind of settled in now, doing their thing, and we're going to be coming up on green flag stops. And if anybody knows me, they know I love green flag stops.
Yeah, it's always fun. You love to see the people that executed 110% correctly. but you hate to see it for the ones that slide right over the box. Pit road speeding penalty. There's so much pressure on you when you're in a green flag run, and then you got to go pit for 4 fresh tires and a tank of, or 2 tanks of Sunoco fuel. You know,
Yeah, it's a real thing. I would say for a lot of guys, you talk to some of these guys and you ask them, what are you worried about? And they say slide my pit box because it's that could you could be the leader with a 5-second lead and you slide your box, and now you're not in the lead no more, and that's just the truth behind it.
and Curtis Preston, he is headed towards the front. I just don't know if it's going to be enough time, but he has pulled away from Jeff Carson and Trevor Massetti now.
Yeah,
He's still about 3.5 seconds back.
and this is the part of the race that's going to be important. Yeah, I mean, he would almost want Jeff Carson and Trevor Massetti to kind of like be behind him to push him, because he's just running out by himself now. He's got to be able to drive the truck better than the group ahead to be able to catch them.
Yes.
And that's going to be hard to do because those guys, top 3 guys they're all running together, so they have the draft to work with, as where Curtis has just himself.
We are talking about Curtis Preston, though. He's a reigning RSR Cup Series champion himself. Really good driver. So I think if anyone can do it, it's definitely the guy right there.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I don't discount his abilities at all. Looking at about 3.5-second gap between him and the lead, which would put it about 2.5 seconds or so until he could catch that front group. And I mean, if he catches them, it's gonna be hard to bet against him. It really is, because I mean, he started last. He didn't qualify, so to even if he can't get up there and get the win to start last and make it up in the top 5 within 30 laps, I mean, that's really impressive.
Yeah, absolutely. And I just got to point out again, I love that paint scheme. That's a good looking Jim Beam paint scheme. I know he's a big Jim Beam guy. That's a good looking paint scheme he's running tonight on that truck.
Yeah, as we see the 3, Trevor Massetti, Jeff Carson, and Matt Upbrook. Now Matt Upbrook is 2 laps down, so he's not really racing you for position. But nice little group here to try to work together. At least I thought they were going to. It's something that's going to be important, is try to find a guy. You don't necessarily have to be his teammate, but if you could work together and try to get your way to the front, I mean, that's where you're going to prevail in this race, I think, especially when we get to, lap 50, lap 60, when it's, it's time to get up there and try to, win this thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, look right now who's up front. You got teammates up front right now. I mean, I know Sheffield's, about a second back now, but you got all teammates up there. They're all helping each other. They want to finish well as a team. I mean, when it comes down to, 10 to go, throw it out the window. I mean, it's you're all for yourself, But right now, I mean, who your friends, who your enemies are.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And we just want to take the moment to, thank you guys for coming out. Thank you guys for watching this race. It's been a good one. If you just joined us, we've seen a very early rare caution. The 81 of Marco Dell kind of just getting tight coming out of the corner, getting tangled up with the 6 of Richard Gonzalez. But since that, nothing but green flag runs, something that, we're used to here. We should be coming up on a green flag pit stop here, within the next 5 to 6 laps as they cross the line on lap 35. We should definitely see them within the next 5 laps, and buckle up. It's going to be fun.
It's gonna be very interesting. If I'm GT, I pit a lap before Everett, which I don't think he will because they're teammates. But if I'm Everett, I stay out an extra lap because you've been out so much in the front for so long. You need to really make up a lap at least. And you've got almost 0.8 tenths of a second. I think you could give up that just a little bit. I know if GT pits 1 lap earlier than him, he's going to gain probably half of a second to 3/4 of a second, but it'll even its way out.
Yeah, I mean it probably will, but I mean in a point of strategy, I mean I love the call. You know, if I'm the crew chief of that four, that's probably the call I make. I think you're right. You know, these guys have been you know they put damn near 40 laps on these tires in this hot track. You know the fuel light's probably on. They're watching. They're making their calculations. You know we need to run the tank basically close to being dry, so we know we're good for the second part of the race. But these guys, you know, they've been running hard, and I think if you're the four, that's the move you make. And as we say it, there he is on pit road, four of GT Irizarry. And I think you're going to see probably everybody else come down with them, and we're just going to watch them. I just like to watch these guys and make sure that you know he hits the box the way he needs to hit the box because like we said, you know, how many times you slide the box here and I mean that could end your race.
Oh yeah, you got to execute your pit stops.
And it looks like a clean pit entrance for the four of GT Irizarry, and we'll see as the 59 of Everett they elect to stay out for another turnaround. So we should be seeing them anytime. If you're, I'll tell you what, the pit on lap 37 like GT did you pit a lap early? You know, that's something I think that we need to think about, I guess. And I think,
Oh, you're definitely taking a risk. I mean, being the first one to go in at lap 37, you're taking a risk. I mean, he's kind of thinking, you know, it's going to be close. I'll be in the draft for a little bit. Maybe I can clutch it a little bit towards the end. But you see Travis Everett, he's coming to pit.
yep, yeah, it's going to be go time for him as he locks them up a little bit coming into pit road. You're going to see him, the one of Michael Sheffield following. And I mean these are guys. We got the 23 of Chad B. Singer. So that's right now is you know these guys felt comfortable. They know that GT went in, and we're gonna see what happens. You know when everything kind of cycles back out and everybody kind of you know does their pit stops. But right now that gives the lead the 29 of Curtis Preston.
And I hate to say it, but Travis Everett slid in the box.
Oh man, that's tough. That's a tough one. It really is. You know, I don't think it's going to affect him as far as the three guys that came down pit road. They're going to exit in the same order, but it's the time that you could have made up had you not slid your box like that.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. He had a 10 out of 10 pit stop till that happened. I mean, he lost maybe a second, so it's not as bad, especially with him being the leader when he went in. It's just going to be interesting to see what's going to happen now.
Yeah. I mean, absolutely. As right now, race leader Jeff Carson, and behind him, you know, 10 seconds back, Richard Gonzalez, which is he made his way back onto the lead lap. You got to give him credit, involved in that early caution, and you know, I don't hate the move for him staying out because he probably came down pit road, fixed some damage during that caution, so he'll actually be your race leader as the 9 of Jeff Carson is now down on pit road. But for the 6 of Gonzalez to get back on the lead lap after being involved in that caution, you know, good for him.
Absolutely. I mean, it's got to be a little bit of momentum for you after the start of the night wasn't that good. Definitely.
Yeah, as you see, he's kind of working on putting the 2 of Craig Burns a lap down. You know, Craig knows that, you know, he still has to pit, so he's going to try his best to stay on the lead lap. Craig involved in a little bit of a Darlington stripe action as well. Hitting the wall coming out of turn 4. It seems like that's the magic place tonight. But once this cycles back out and you know we see the 6 come down pit road, it is gonna give the lead back to GT Irizarry, who right now holds about About a 3-second advantage over the 59 of Travis Everett back there in third.
Yeah, you're starting to see things finally shuffle up. Looks like GT's now scored a second, Travis has scored his third, and we got Sheffield sitting there in fourth. Curtis Preston had a damn good pit stop because he is right at about less than a second from Sheffield. So he could have a really good points day, not almost making the race, not qualifying, and to come up through the field and you're sitting there in fifth place. I'll take that any day.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, who wouldn't? And I mean, he's gonna, he's close enough to the one of Sheffield to definitely be able to pick up that draft. So maybe you might see these guys kind of hook up and, kind of play a little. Let's go get them.
Well, when you got the boss man Sheffield that runs the team, if I'm Curtis Preston, he tells me, he says, "Hey, you want a chance to catch him? Let's team up and try to draft up or to him." I say, "Yes, sir. Let's go."
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. And I mean, now in a league where you get, you get some bonus points for leading a lap. Obviously, leading a lap is important. But looking at the timing tower here, and we see that GT is just closing so quick on the 6 of Gonzalez. I mean, you kind of have to make a move to come down pit road, and as I say that, there he is. So he will relinquish the lead, and the 4 of GT Irizarry will be your new race leader.
I'm Richard Gonzalez, though. That was a good strategy. I mean, you ain't got to worry about it now. You're going to make it on fuel. You'll be one of the ones that really doesn't have to worry about, spitting and sputtering.
Yeah, I mean that, and I mean you have, essentially 4 to 5 lap newer tires and everybody too. So I mean you could go out there and, whether you want to hot lap a couple or save them and burn them up at the end when you're trying to catch somebody for a position. I mean there's so much you could do with it that that really helps you. And I think the only problem that GT is going to face right now is he's just by himself. The 59 is closing the gap, a little bit each lap here, and he's on about, I want to say, 2 lap newer tires than GT, so he's going to catch him, not super quick, but they, if those guys could, if the 4 and the 59 can link up, I think that's who we're going to be talking about towards the end. It's going to just be one of those 2 guys.
And Everett did have the better long run truck in that last green flag run. I mean, you could tell he had the better truck. GT got a little bit tight, and Everett was still able to pull away a little bit. He had over a second lead before the pit cycle happened. So Everett's got a good long run truck, and he knows it. And you just see he's just chipping away at that time. I just hope he doesn't burn up too much tire when he catches GT.
Yeah, I mean, right. That's the thing is, try to catch him. Obviously, that's what you want to do. Is you see, he's still running that crazy high line that nobody else has kind of really experimented with. Catch him is your main goal, but don't burn it up because just because you could get there, and if you can't get around him, then it just doesn't do you no good.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, you just saw right there, he's 2.1 seconds that lap before, now he's 1.8. I mean, he's getting up there. He's going to be within a second, I think. And then I think he may back off just a little bit to prevent more, rapid burn off. So.
Right. I mean, I think, as this race progresses, did the 4 pit too early? I mean, I'm thinking about it already because he came in on lap 36.
And there's a reason he's running that apron. He's running that apron because the shortest way around the track is that apron, and I'm telling you, he's going to do that every single lap to try to help a fuel because he's cutting it super, super close.
Yeah, it is gonna be close, and I hope it is. I really do. There's nothing more exciting than coming down to the white flag and that engine sputter, and you're just trying to get it around to the start-finish line. And this ain't no small track. It's 2 miles around this thing, so we're gonna have to wait and see. But it's almost crunch time. We're gonna be coming to lap 49, so. 27 laps left in this thing, and it's going to get crazy. As Travis Everett, we talked. He's closing the gap. He's got it down to 1.3 seconds, and he's just doing his thing. I think he knows that GT might be worried about fuel, and he's in the best possible spot he could be right now.
I also think Everett's sitting there thinking, if I didn't slide past my damn pit box, I may be already past this guy and leading this race, not having to worry about this.
Right. That's the thing. That it's a shame. It really is. Like we said, he didn't lose position as he went in, but he lost the time. I mean, he could be the guy out in front right now, and he doesn't have the fuel concern in the world really, pitting when he did. So it's going to be one of those things. It's going to be, you got to get to him first, obviously. And I mean, he's closing the gap. He's gaining about almost 0.2 a second every lap on GT, and he's eventually here within probably the next lap or two, he's going to be able to grab that draft, and not only is it going to suck it in, suck him up closer, he's going to go back into fuel saving mode.
Yeah. I mean, the only positive thing I could see right now with Everett is, GT's got all the clean air, but he's burning up the most fuel right now. So if Everett can get sucked up, which it looks like the slingshot mode is going to engage soon because he's within attacking distance now, he's definitely not going to have to worry about fuel after sucking up behind GT for a couple laps.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, as you can see, we're coming to 24 laps to go in this thing, and the 59 is knocking on the door. We know from, a good mathematical standpoint that he can make it on fuel. We don't know if the 4 could. We're going to see. We are going to see. As you still see the 59 still running that high line, and I can't blame him. I mean, it's worked the whole race for him. It really has. And I mean, he kind of, he picks up the draft going down the back straightaway, and I mean, it sucks him right up to the back bumper.
Yeah, he just picks up so much speed. I mean, look how much he closed on that bumper, and you're seeing him run that high line mostly in 1 and 2. When he gets in 3 and 4, he runs that low line, kind of diamonds it in 3 and 4.
Right.
So, but you just see him, he just gets so much momentum down the backstretch going into 3 and 4.
Yeah, I mean, he's got that thing dialed in. He knows what he wants to do with it, as GT's going to start taking that high line away, especially through the corner, as they are a little bit of maybe teammate banner going on down the back straightaway. But if I'm GT, I'm kind of like, man, go ahead. You could have that clean air all you want, because I think I got to save some fuel.
Man, they are so close right now. GT's got the run on the high side. He's going to side draft a little bit too. Man, this is just crazy stuff right now. I mean, it's gonna get a little dicey here the next 7 or 8 laps.
Yeah, and I mean, throw your tire saving strategy out the window, because I mean, you don't really have much to worry about with Michael Sheffield being 4 seconds behind you guys. You might as well let's race it. Let's run these last 20 laps. Let's battle it out, and let's see who's got the better truck.
GT is making it so hard on Everett right now. If I'm Everett, just stay cool, calm, and collected. You got fresher tires than he does. You got more fuel than he does. But man, this is a really good battle right now.
Yeah, I mean, this is, we won't be taking our eyes off this battle until somebody concedes it. It's just nobody's willing to do it. And heck, why would you? This is the most exciting action we've seen all race, and it just happens to be for the lead.
Yeah, I mean, this is what we've waited for. This is what makes Auto Club so much fun. I'm one of those people. I know that they're going to be doing something different to this track, but I'm against it. I love this track. This is one of my favorite tracks on the schedule. It's so much fun to watch on TV. I wish I could see it in person. But this is just a great track because of these finishes coming down towards the end.
Yeah, I mean, as you could see, that 59, if he wasn't pushing the 4 down the front stretch, he was darn close because their bumpers were basically trading paint. And, he'll get that good run coming on the outside as they come out of turn 2 down the backstretch.
Well, and Everett wanted the high side. He wanted the high side all along. He just got a really good run, and he barely was able to sneak that nose in there. And he's going to clear GT.
Yeah, I think that's the move he needed. And now it's a question of, can he hold it? Can he hold it? I think honestly, I think Travis is so good running that high line, and you'll see, GT's obviously going to run the same line to stay in the draft, or at least I thought he was. And these guys, they're going to battle it out. 19 laps to go. We're going to probably be seeing this probably for the rest of the race.
Yeah, GT's one of those people, man. He's really good on the textbook about being able to slide up in front of you. He can do a slide job like no other. He's very good at it. And, man, you look at these two, man. Travis got a huge run on that one. GT went to block it. And Everett's like, no.
Yep, I'm gonna take that right away from you. And I mean, these guys are gonna be coming up on a lap truck here, and probably 2 to 3 laps, I want to say, and maybe even sooner. Now, it probably shouldn't play a factor, but it's worth noting that they are gonna have a lap truck to deal with.
Yeah, and the lap truck can benefit. It can either make you or break you. If you get it, within the lap truck on the perfect timing, you can actually get a good draft off that truck. The biggest question is he going to hold you up in the corner? That's the biggest question.
Right. Yeah, you're exactly right. I mean, yeah, you could pull that draft, but if you get stuck behind him going into the corner, as you see, they're going to just kind of power around the 69 of Josh Maxwell now on the outside. I mean, yeah, that could hurt you.
Fans, I hope you guys are enjoying this. This is one heck of a battle right now.
Yeah, I mean, we are. This is what we hope for, and I'm usually always wrong of calling outcomes, but I think we're going to see these two door to door coming out of turn 4, racing for the race win, and at least I hope so.
Well, and here's the other thing: they're sitting there duking this out. I mean, I don't know if Sheffield and Curtis Preston have enough time, but they're being really smart and just staying right behind each other, and they're going to get close to this if these two keep duking it out.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. Yeah, I mean, this is something that we've kind of neglected here for the last couple of laps because of the battle for the lead. But, I mean, these guys, they're pushing each other. They're working together. And, I mean, they've got it down to 3 seconds. That was a 5-second gap at one time, after the round of the pit stops and everybody kind of cycled out through. So this is something, we're definitely going to keep an eye on because we still got, 15 laps left in this thing.
You got plenty of time. There could be a mistake with the top 2 guys, and you're right back in it. But just another big shout out to Curtis Preston, man. Cool, calm, collected. Almost didn't make the race. Didn't qualify. Started in the very back, and he's sitting there with a chance still.
Yeah. I mean, it's something that you almost can't write it. You know what I mean? You can't write the book, but he is. Was able to sneak in at the last minute. Started the last truck. He was the last guy to start, and bam, up to 4th. And I'll tell you what, even if they can't get up there and race for the win, I mean, shoot, that's got to feel like a win.
Yeah, great points day for him so far. If he can maintain, a top 4 finish, great points day.
Absolutely. I mean, if this is your first time tuning into a broadcast and You know, I hope it is. Head on over to our Facebook page, Evolution Racing Network. We're on Facebook and YouTube. Give us a like, smash the bell. You'll get notified anytime we go live, whether it's right here in the Adrenaline Rush Racing League, or if it's on Saturday nights with the Wallbangers Racing Truck Series, or our brand new league on Tuesday nights, another truck series. We love these truck series. Three Wide Racing Esports League. Put on a great show last week in Atlanta, running, I think they ran 80 laps with one caution. Give us a like, follow us. If you enjoy the action that we're getting here tonight, which I know I am, as we see, the battle continues. The battle just keeps on going. We think that, one guy is, oh my God, I don't even know if you could put a piece of paper in between those two going into turn 3.
You definitely could, and I'm sitting there watching it from the blimp mode, and man, this is absolutely crazy.
I'll tell you what, I feel like there's nothing more exciting than guys that can run that close together without making contact and, wrecking each other. And, I mean, if you're the one of Sheffield, you're like, go ahead, guys. Bang it up. Take each other out with 5 to go, and I'll take the race win.
Yeah, like I said, Sheffield and Curtis Preston, I mean, right now, they are in the perfect seat if something happens between these two because of how close they're running. Now, granted, they're teammates, and they're used to this stuff, and they run each other extremely well and very respectfully. But if I'm Curtis Preston and Michael Sheffield, I'm like, hey, they bump one time and they lose, a lot of momentum. This is our chance.
Oh, yeah. I mean, 100%. And, I mean, with 11 laps to go, and they're only 2.5 seconds back. I mean, they might not need these guys to wreck each other because they might be there battling for the lead with them.
Yeah. I mean, could you imagine 4 teammates battling it out?
Boy, I'll tell you what, that would be a storybook finish to what has already been an exciting race here tonight, Kevin. And I mean, if we had to pay for this, I wouldn't even be mad because this is the racing you want to see. As we've got 10 laps to go, and I mean these guys are basically, they might as well be high-fiving each other. That's how close they're running.
It just goes to show though, this is where experience shows who has been in the rig for this long and can maintain side-by-side racing like this for so many laps. I don't know how long Travis has been in it. I know Travis has been in it for a little bit, longer than I have, and maybe longer than you have, Steve. But GT Irizarry has been on iRacing for a while, and the guy races still with a Logitech G27 wheel and pedals. And before he told me that, I thought he had like a Fanatec setup or Husenfeld pedals, stuff like that. No, the guy runs literally a G27 wheel and pedals and is running this good.
Right. I mean, it goes to show you that experience and, learning a racecraft will always outweigh equipment. I mean, you could throw money at something all you want. It ain't going to make you any better. And GT's a prime example of that, as he's, 2-time champion in this series. Runs well in the RSR Cup Series on Tuesday nights. I mean, he's always up in the front, so it goes to show you that you don't have to have the good equipment to get the job done.
Yeah, absolutely. I almost want to hire him as a coach for me for this damn game.
Right?
Teach me.
As we see a small separation now. Travis able to get about a 3/10 of a second advantage on GT, which he'll suck that down going down the straightaway with the draft. But that's going to give us time. We haven't had much time. We haven't had much time for a breather this race, Gavin. I mean, normally we could, get a, 1 or 2 water breaks in a broadcast. But I just want to let everybody else out there know this Adrenaline Rush Racing League brought to you by Sheffield Graphics. Sheffield Graphics is a iRacing custom paints and liveries company. They make some of the best And when I say the best, I mean the best iRacing paints out there. Most of the trucks in here have a Sheffield graphics paint on them. All proceeds benefit the Folds of Honor Foundation, which is a great organization that they give out scholarships to the families of fallen soldiers. So if you're looking for paint, head on over to Facebook. Look up Sheffield Graphics. Awesome organization run by our own Michael Sheffield here, the owner of this league, and we couldn't be prouder to bring this action to you. As the battle continues. The battle continues, and we are going to be coming to 5 to go here, Kevin. But I'll tell you what, I strapped in my seatbelt to my desk chair here because I'm ready to go. I'm ready to see how this one plays out. I just hope they're door to door coming in the start finish line, because that would be a thriller.
Oh, absolutely. This is definitely interesting. And GT is trying as hard as he can. If he can close the door on Travis, it changes it up completely going down the straightaways, but he just can't. Everett's holding his line, cool as a cucumber. He's just holding his line and not making any mistakes.
And, as we mentioned, multiple times over probably the last 10 laps, your third and fourth place guys within a second and a half now, with 5 to go. It's gonna be close. It really is. Now we're gonna start to see if GT is not gonna make it on fuel. I think we're gonna start to see it now. I think you're gonna start to see him trying to save some. Well, we're gonna see what happens as 4 to go. And we're gonna we're in for a thriller regardless of what happens. Hopefully these top two guys don't wreck each other and take each other out. But if they do, we'll have a battle for the win no matter how you look at it, because the one of Michael Sheffield and the 29 of Preston, they're right there with each other as well.
Yeah, this is just really good. I mean, you can finally see him on the screen, and GT, man, he gets a huge run going down the backstretch because he's just sucking up in that draft. But if I just want to see his fuel gauge right now. I want to hear his crew chief.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Yeah, I'd love to know what's left in the tank. What do you think's left in the tank? How do you play it when it comes to 2 to go? Even on the white flag lap, and you can't make it. I mean, you gotta stay in it because you can't let out now.
No, you can't. I mean, you've made your bed. Just try to go out and execute it. That's the biggest thing. And man, if he has enough fuel, I'm going to be really, really impressed.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, absolutely. I mean, these guys, he has not done anything to really save fuel within these last 20 laps. My goodness, do they get tight when they come out of turn 4. And I mean, they haven't done anything to save fuel. These guys have been battling like they're racing for $1,000.
Yeah, no kidding. I just wanted to know, with GT, like I said, if he pulls us off, I want to know how much he paid Larry Mack to be his crew chief. Because Larry Mack, man, when you watch the broadcasts on Sundays, he's got that calculator out when he knows it's a fuel strategy race. And I just want to know what GT paid him if he pulls this off.
Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah, absolutely. I mean, if he has enough to make it, let's just call it the gamble of the race. It really would be. GT is into the wall, coming out of turn 4.
Oh, tough break.
Oh, man, I'll tell you what, Kevin, that's something you hate to see is Travis Everett will take the Sheffield graphics white flag. I think he gave it all he had. I mean, that's just one of those deals. It really is. You hate to see it. You really do. But that should seal the deal on this race, as Travis Everett with a 1.2 second lead over Curtis Preston, who starts from last, gets all the way up to second. Oh, man, not the finish that we thought we were going to see, but I'll tell you what, all the way up to the white flag, that was exciting.
Starts on the pole, wins the race. Travis Everett.
Your
Taking
race
the checker
winner.
flag.
Travis Everett, your race winner. Curtis Preston from last to second, and GT Irizarry will round out your podium finishers with just a little bit of scrape of the wall there at the end. And I'll tell you what, guys, not the finish we thought we were going to get, but it's the finish I think that we all deserved in the same token with a race that was, this clean, one caution. We're coming to be pretty used to this anymore with these, no caution or very minimal caution races. And Travis Everett was the guy to beat. He was running that wicked high line, and him and GT they're gonna battle it out. And Travis Everett's gonna well deserved burn it down here at Auto Club. And I will tell you what, he deserved that win for a lot of reasons, obviously, but to start on the pole and run that crazy high line, Kevin, that he did all race, and be able to hold off GT. GT they were battling harder than I've ever seen, and to be able to hold them off and bring home the race win's got to be huge for him.
Yeah, absolutely. And if I'm Sheffield, man, I'm proud of the team. 1, 2, 3, 4 finish. You just cannot get better than that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, folks, we're gonna talk to the top three. We're gonna take take a much needed breather here, and when we get back, we'll talk to your top three finishers. And we are back after what was a great race. Kevin, these guys went to town on each other. That battle for the lead there within the last 25 laps was some of the most exciting racing I've seen in a long time, and I'm sure you can agree. And let's talk to these guys. Let's see what they were dealing with out there. First up, I'll bring them in, and Kevin Ruff is down with the number 4 of GT Irizarry.
GT, what do you think about that race tonight so far?
A hell of a race, man.
That was unbelievable, that side-by-side battle that you had with Travis Everett, man. It goes to show you and your teammates definitely put in practice, because you guys were cool as cucumbers running side by side, where Steve and I couldn't even put a notebook between you two. It just unbelievable, the side by side racing you guys did. But what I really want to know is how close were you on spitting and sputtering, and how much did you pay Larry Mack to do the calculations on your fuel strategy?
Fuel strategy was fine. When I pitted early, I still had, that's what I was telling the chef, was that, because he made a comment about me, you should have waited at least till halfway, but I burned him up so bad that Travis checked out. I was like, the only chance we were going to have was try to short pit him and get out there. And luckily for us, he overshot his pit, which is, Travis don't mess up on pit road, dude. He's like, spot on just about every damn time. So for him to screw up this one time really worked in our favor. So I just, stuck to the strategy. I was just going to take it easy and run low until he got there, and then it was going to be, balls to the wall and race him hard. I really thought he was going to pull away from us, but man, I don't think I've ever raced that hard trying to get the lead for lap after lap after lap. But to answer your question, fuel, we were good. I still had another two laps easy in the tank there. And, yeah, when we put the practice in, but the thing is we know how we each other race, and we know we can race each other hard. And I mean, I was just talking with Travis, congratulating him on his win again. And I was telling him, I said, you know what? I wouldn't even felt bad if I would have wrecked you at this point, because I mean, we were just driving the shit out of these things, man.
Yeah, and I pointed it out in the broadcast, and I just want the fans to know out there, tell them what your setup is. You don't have a Fanatec wheel. You don't have Husenfeld pedals. What do you run, GT?
An Xbox controller. No, I'm just playing. I got the old G27. I've had a G27 for probably, I don't know, 7-8 years now. Bought it used a long time ago, and that's what I stick with. I've got a brand new Logitech G920 that is sitting in a box. It's been used like 3 times, never on my PC. I tried it on the Xbox a couple times to make sure it worked, and I never I don't see the point switching when this one right here is working so well. Here's the odd thing, though, that a lot of people probably don't know is I drive one-handed. You're supposed to have 2 hands on the wheel. I can't drive these things with two hands. I never have. So I've always got, I always drive with my left hand, and my right hand stays on the gear shifter. I'm gonna have a hard time with these Gen 6 cars because they're forcing us to go to those paddle shifters if you don't have the sequential shifter, which I've got an H pattern, but the sequential and it just doesn't work very well. So I'm gonna have to go to the paddle shifters. But I was telling Travis about halfway through that lap run, I said, man, my left hand it's numb. On the straightaways, I had to take my hand off the steering wheel and move to the right hand just on the straightaways and then switch back over.
Yeah, but that's unbelievable. I didn't even know you drove with one hand. But it just goes to show to the fans out here who do race on iRacing that you don't have to be up front by buying the best equipment. You put in the lap times, you put in the practice like you and your teammates do, and you can put the results out there with just a G27 wheel and pedals.
What a G27 is still a pretty respectable wheel. I mean, if you look, I mean, the price tags on these things are still pretty hefty, even though you can't get them new. I mean, if you find a decent used one on eBay or something like that, you're still going to pay a pretty penny for them. I mean, they're not as much as all these other wheels that, like for example, Travis has got one of them fancy wheels, and Curtis has got one. I think Chef's got one too. And I just, it isn't just paying the money to get the wheel that I don't want to do. Is I'm not very computer smart, so I don't want to try and change something. And that's one of the main reasons why I never tried the G920. I didn't want to try and change it and then screw up my settings and not be able to get them back. So I'm just like, you know what? I'm not going to try and fix something that's not broke.
Absolutely. Well, GT, heck of a run tonight. You put on a great show. But before we let you go, is there anybody you'd like to give a shout out to?
Give a shout out to Travis. I mean, a hell of a run on his part. We've had many battles before in the past, and we're able to go door to door, and I really haven't chalk marked him too much on put him up into the wall too many times. So that says a lot. I usually end up wrecking Curtis, not him, but now I got to give a hats off to him. Congratulations to him. Now we got looks like 4 slide job teams now that have collected a victory so far this season. So that's good, because I'm probably going to end up missing. I know more than likely I will miss next week. So got to thank you boys up in booth. Got to thank obviously Michael Sheffield and Sheffield Graphics for everything they do. Without him putting in the time and the money and stuff like that, hell, you wouldn't be able to watch the show that we just put on for you guys.
Absolutely. Well, GT, I hate it that you may not be here next week, but look forward to seeing you next time you're on the track, partner.
Guys.
All right, that was Kevin Ruff with your 3rd place finisher. GT Zari, I mean, battled it out as long as he could down to the last lap. A little bit surprised to hear that he had 2 laps of fuel left, to be honest with you, Kevin. But hey, that's why we're up here and not down on the on pit road.
Caution helped out a bunch. That caution had to. If they didn't have that caution, I think it would have been even closer.
Yeah, honestly, I think you're right. And here's a guy I want to talk to, because I gotta see what he does behind the wheel. Hey, Curtis Preston, this is Stephen Cavan up in the year-end booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got you. How's it going, guys?
Well, I want to know what you got to do to start barely make it into the race. First off, start dead last because you couldn't qualify, and walk away with a 2nd place finish. How in the heck did you do that?
A little bit of luck, and got got some great teammates come out of pit road there right behind Sheffield, and he did a great job, man, running consistent. Just his lifting points were dead on the money, and I was able to stay right there on him, and we were working together. We just ran out of time, man. I think we'd add something for him, 3 more laps maybe.
Yeah, I mean that was impressive, and me and Kevin were basically the last 25 laps when those guys were door to door. You guys at that time were 5 seconds behind them, and you ended up, finishing the race, a second behind Travis. So I mean, you guys were able to catch him. I think if you guys had maybe another 5 to 7 laps, I think we'd be talking to somebody else in victory lane. But nevertheless, a stellar performance. And next week we head to Las Vegas. Back to a 1.5-mile track. What do you got to do there to get a win?
Gonna have to do a lot of testing, win against these guys. It's hard to pull off a W in this series. Vegas is going to be about tire management, but at the same time, it's like this joint right here, and it's going to be all about the draft and playing the air. I know they did the multi-groove stuff for the what do they call it, dynamic track or whatever. I stayed running the bottom all night here. I don't know if Vegas, sometimes you can run the top air in 1 and 2. We'll have to go do a little testing, man. Get to work.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll let you in on a little secret. We just spoke to GT. Not going to make the Vegas race, so that kind of, probably opens the door a little bit for you. Before we let you go and, celebrate, the biggest mover of the race, anybody you want to give a shout out to?
Yeah, I got to give a shout out to you guys in the booth, man. I'm going to look forward to going back and watching this one. Appreciate what y'all doing for us, and appreciate Sheffield and everybody at Evolution, man. This is it's a lot of fun. I'm a big fan of this style of racing here, so I really enjoy it. And the guys you race with make it that much better.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, Curtis, we're going to let you go enjoy this one, and hopefully we're talking to you next week at Las Vegas.
All right, have a good night, guys.
That was your second place finisher, the biggest mover of the race. I don't think he's human, but that's just me. Curtis Preston, up 10 spots, starts 12th, finishes second. I mean, that's impressive. In my opinion, Kevin, that's as good as winning the race.
Oh, absolutely. I'm chugging a beer if I did that.
Heck yeah. All right, Kevin, I know you want to talk to him. I want to hear from him. Let's get him in here. Kevin has got the race winner, Travis Everett.
Travis Everett, Steve and Kevin up in the booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir. We got y'all.
How about that drag race, man? That was unbelievable watching you guys just duke it out side by side for, I'd say that was probably 20, 25 laps. Take us through it.
First off, I can't stand the guy, but the quote Kyle Busch, if you don't like that kind of racing, don't even watch. I mean, I don't believe you could have asked for anything better than that. We went all out, that's for sure. And there was a couple times we could have moved each other there, but me and GT, we've ran around each other a lot and got a lot of respect for each other. And, of course, teammates over in the Cup Series, and I guess you can say the Truck Series also. But hats off to him. Ran me clean, ran me hard, and I don't know if I've ever worked that hard for one before.
Yeah, I mean, you worked your tail off for it, man. And there was just a couple moments. I mean, me and Steve both, we were like, I mean, you couldn't even slide a notebook between you two. I mean, that's how close you guys were. But it goes to show, when you're teammates and you put down the practice like that, you can have fun drag races like this.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And then we're sitting there running side by side trying to sort things out and sitting there looking at the relative in the mirror and see the other two teammates creeping up on us like, come on, man, we got to figure something out. We got to decide something here. Got to get away.
Yeah, Steve pointed out, I think if there was another 3 to 5 laps and you two were still duking it out, I think there was going to be four cars in the running to win this race. But you're headed to Vegas next week. You got a lot of momentum on your shoulders. What do you think about next week?
We like Vegas. From what I can remember, I think it's pretty much flat out track if you want it to be. But of course, it's going to cost you your tires there also. So I think it's going to be another game of that, just like it was tonight. Because I thought I blew my chance in having to run GT down tonight because I slid my box there. Definitely didn't do us any favors there. Can't afford to do that next week, that's for sure.
I wasn't going to point that out, I will say when you go back and watch the replay, you're probably going to be like, Kevin, why'd you point it out? But Steve didn't even know. And I'm sitting there watching you, and I see on that green flag pit stop, and I saw you slide across that box, and I was like, oh my God. I was like, Travis just slid out of his box. This is going to hurt him. But you know what? I mean, if you executed it a 10 out of 10, it probably, your nerves would have been a lot more calmer because you wouldn't have to worry about that drag race with GT, I don't think. But I think for the viewers, I think it was a good thing you slid through that box because, man, that was some of the best racing I think some of these fans have seen.
Yeah, it definitely paid off as far as the racing goes. I'd like to get out there and stretch it out, but again, couldn't ask for anything better than what put on here tonight, I don't believe. And it was a ball.
Well, Travis, Steve and I both enjoyed it. As always, you're a great racer, and I enjoy racing you in the RSR Cup Series as well on Tuesday nights. Look forward to seeing you next week. But before we let you go, is there anybody you'd like to give a shout out to?
I just want to thank you and Steve for broadcasting this thing for us. Sheffield Graphics, all my teammates over there at Slide Job Racing, and guys down in the Arca Series, Donkey Punch. They run a lot, put a lot of time in on us. Also, one big group over there, and like you said, I enjoy racing you. Got a lot of respect for you, and had a lot of fun racing you. So. Looking forward to doing that tomorrow night, and we'll see y'all next Monday night at Vegas.
Travis, we appreciate it, buddy. Thank you.
So y'all have a good night.
You too, buddy.
All right, that was Kevin Ruff with your race winner, Travis Everett. And you know, Kevin, it's the race we wanted. We got it. We were talking with 30, 40 to go that we hoped that these guys were going to battle it out in the last 25 laps, and that's exactly what we got. So. Obviously something exciting to watch. I hope everybody enjoyed it. Let's go through our finishing results here and just kind of see where your favorite driver ended up. And Travis Everett, your race winner, coming home in second, 29 at Curtis Preston. We spoke to him. He brought the jet fuel again. Third, coming home in third, GT Irizarry. Fourth, Michael Sheffield. Fifth, we didn't talk a lot about him, but Trevor Massetti, a top five, he scraped the wall earlier in the race and, was able to kind of do his thing and keep it there in the top five. And right behind him, Jeff Carson, another consistent finish, and he should be happy with that. And Kevin, take us the rest of the way.
Richard Gonzalez, who had a good strategy if the caution came out, had a great strategy. He's going to finish seventh. Still a good top 10. Then we got Josh Maxwell. He's going to finish 8th. Matt Opbrook is going to finish 9th. Craig Burns, tough night for him. Love that guy. Great teammate of mine in the Cup Series. Just hitting that wall, it goes to show how much aerodynamics you can lose. Tough night for him, but he's going to scrap out a top 10. Chad Biesinger, looks like he got into some trouble because he ended up finishing multiple laps down. He's going to finish to 11th, and tough break for Mark Odell. You hate coming into a race. You got a lot of momentum on your shoulders, hoping that you're going to have a good race, and you just end up, wrecking yourself out, very beginning of the race. So tough break for him.
Yeah, that's, you don't want to see it to happen to anybody, but, it seems, I don't want to say every race, but you will have a race like that, and you just got to be able to bounce back from it and, put this race behind you. Look forward to Vegas or, something up on the schedule and, hopefully, you could have a bounce back performance. And here's what we got coming up slated. Now this is an exciting schedule, Kevin. We go to Vegas next week. We're back to a mile and a half, and then we do something a little crazy that's never ever been done here in Adrenaline Rush Racing is a road course. These guys are going to do a little bit of right turns, a little bit of left turns as we go to Daytona Road Course. And it doesn't get easier. They go to Milwaukee and then Pocono. So the next 4 races are some tricky tracks. And, Vegas isn't an easy track. It really isn't. These some of the iRacing updates have, kind of made these, easy cookie cutter mile and a halves not so easy anymore. So I think this upcoming schedule is not only exciting, but we don't know what we're going to get. We've never seen a road course ran. We could go ahead and pick, say GT and Curtis Preston are going to be, good at a road course, but we don't know. So I don't know about you, but I am super stoked about these next 4 races coming up.
Well, I'll tell you what. If you want to put a bet on the Daytona Road Course, I got $20 on Trevor Massetti.
You know, we run in other leagues with Trevor, and I don't know if there's ever been a road course race that he hasn't ran, that he hasn't won. So something to look forward to. That'll be in 2 weeks. Next week we head to Vegas. I hope everybody had a great race. We had a ball. If you like the action, like I said, head on over to Facebook, head on over to YouTube, give us a like, subscribe, follow. You get notified when we go live. And next week we will be at Las Vegas, and it's going to be a great race. So I hope everybody had a great time tonight. For Kevin Ruff, I'm Steve Kerpel, and we will catch you next week.